I am the lord of the demonic sect. I haven't killed anyone in 3,000 years. After possessing the original host's body, in order to find a chance to ascend, I traveled outside for 3 years. Who would have thought that when I returned, the fake young master would slander me for stealing his top-grade spirit sword and beating him into serious injury? Everyone in the Xiao family started accusing me. They wanted me to kneel and apologize, and even dig out my immortal bone to make amends to the fake young master. A bloodthirsty smile curled up at the corner of my lips. If that's how it is, then it looks like I'm going on a killing spree today. Inside the main hall of the Xiao family in the southern region, my second sister shouted harshly, "Mother, the top-grade Qingling sword was found in Xiao Che's room." Hez actually still trying to deny it. At this moment, everyone in the Xiao family hall had arrived except for the family head, who was in seclusion. My fiancée held the fake young master in her arms with heartache, then shot me a venomous glare. "Madam Xiao." The moment Xiao Che came back, he stole Zi'an's top-grade spirit sword and even beat him into serious injury. His crimes are simply unforgivable. I ask Madam Xiao to uphold justice. My eldest sister, who cultivated the Dao of emotionlessness, directly passed judgment. Xiao Che stole a spirit sword and maliciously injured someone. He must kneel and apologize, and his immortal bone must be dug out to compensate Zi'an. Mother, seated in the main seat, frowned tightly. Exactly as it should be. I swept my gaze around and saw their stares growing hotter and hotter, like bloodthirsty beasts staring at prey. Very good. I haven't killed anyone in 3,000 years. Looks like I'll be going on a killing spree today. I am the lord of the demonic sect because I had created too much slaughter. When I was about to ascend, I was jointly attacked by righteous cultivators and suppressed beneath Mount Wanmo for 3,000 years. Just as my last wisp of remnant soul was about to dissipate, I happened to encounter a young man lost in Mount Wanmo, the original host, Xiao Che. To my delight, this person actually had a heavenly Dao Immortal Bone. He was the perfect choice to break the formation. I took advantage of his kindness. Step by step, I guided him into undoing the damaged seal and possessed his body, even though I had once killed like breathing. At that moment, though, a guilt I had never felt before rose in my heart. Right before his soul dissipated, I asked whether he had any final wish, and I would do my best to fulfill it. He said his father's greatest wish was to restore the Xiao family and make it the overlord of the southern region. He hoped I could help the Xiao family. I agreed to him, and I protected his soul, allowing him to re-enter the cycle of reincarnation. Although I am a demonic cultivator, I value my word the most. So, for these 18 years, I have risked my life for the Xiao family, bringing back countless cultivation resources, helping the Xiao family become the overlord of one side. The heavenly Dao Immortal Bone truly lived up to its reputation. Its cultivation speed was unbelievably fast. 3 years ago, I had already returned to my peak, yet there was still no sign of ascension. Left with no choice. I had no choice but to travel the world in search of a chance to become immortal. Unexpectedly, when I returned to the Xiao family 3 years later, the Xiao family had actually adopted a foster son, Xiao Zi'an. I was once the lord of the demonic sect. Naturally, I would never stoop to currying favor with others. So, for these 18 years, my relationship with the Xiao family had always been lukewarm. But this Xiao Zi'an was different. He had a sweet mouth and knew exactly how to talk. In just 3 years, he had coaxed the Xiao family into doting on him to the extreme and treating him like a treasure. Even the original host's fiancé favored him greatly. On the very first day of my return to the Xiao family, the fake young master slandered me for stealing his top-grade spirit sword, beating him into serious injury, and shattering his immortal bone. Seeing that everyone completely believed his words, the fake young master hurriedly knelt on the ground. Tears smashed down in big drops. "Mother, it's all my fault. I'm not worthy of having a top-grade spirit sword. And don't blame Big Brother either. Hez, your biological son. I'll leave the Xiao family right now." The moment Xiao Zi'an cried, it broke the hearts of these sisters and mother. Mother Xiao panicked and hurried down from the main seat to pull him into her arms. "Zi'an, in this Xiao family, anyone can leave except you. As long as mom is still in the Xiao family for 1 day, I won't let anyone drive you out." My second sister, Xiao Luoyu, also comforted him softly. Zi'an, you're good. In every way, you're just too kind. That's why Xiao Che bullied you like this. My eldest sister, Xiao Loshu, was also glaring at me viciously, as if she wanted nothing more than to stab me to death with one sword. Mother Xiao turned her head and glared at me furiously. You unfilial son, look at what you've done. How can you be this vicious? Not only did you steal a spirit sword, you even shattered Zi'an's immortal bone. If I'd known this when I gave birth to you, I should have strangled you to death. Clang. My eldest sister, Xiao Loshu, drew her sword. The blade shone with a freezing cold light. She pointed the sword at the center of my brows. Xiao Che, now that things have come to this, what else do you have to say? Are you going to kneel on your own and dig out your immortal bone to apologize to Zi'an? Or are you going to force me to do it myself? I glanced at these dead people and smiled with disdain. Oh, you say I stole his top-grade spirit sword and seriously injured Xiao Zi'an. Do you have any other evidence? Hearing that, everyone was stunned. My second sister, Xiao Luoyu, was the first to react and loudly rebuked me. What other evidence do we need? Zi'an is so kind. There's no way he would lie. My fiancé, Ye Lingshuang, hurriedly echoed her. Exactly. The sword was found in your room. Zi'an's immortal bone is shattered and has so badly injured. Could he possibly be using a self-inflicted injury trick to frame you, even though you're my fiancé? I'll say this right here today. If you don't kneel and apologize and dig out your own immortal bone, I will never marry you. With a sweep of my hand, I summoned more than 1,000 top-grade spirit swords from my storage ring. Among them were even 2 holy swords. One was the Frost Holy Sword, and the other was the Scarlet Flame Holy Sword. The moment the 2 holy swords appeared, the spiritual energy between heaven and earth instantly erupted into chaos. Surrounded by thousands of spirit swords, they stood in the air like stars surrounding the moon. Everyone present revealed expressions of utter disbelief. They stared fixedly at the holy swords in the center, their eyes full of obsession. The Frost Holy Sword was crystal clear from top to bottom. Cold air coiled around it, making people unconsciously want to retreat, as if one more look would freeze their souls. The Scarlet Flame Holy Sword was the complete opposite. The blade burned with raging flames, and the air around it warped slightly from the heat, as if it could burn all things to ash. These were all stock I had saved from 3,000 years ago. I looked at them with a sneer. In your eyes, a top-grade spirit sword is a priceless treasure, but in my eyes, it's no different from an ordinary iron sword. I have top-grade spirit swords and even holy swords. Why would I care about his trash sword? At this moment, everyone fell silent. Yeah, I own so many top-grade spirit swords. Why would I want Zi'an's sword? It was like a filthy rich man insisting on stealing a beggar's single coin. Ridiculous. Everyone's gaze turned suspiciously toward Xiao Zi'an. Xiao Zi'an was completely dumbfounded. He never could have imagined it. I would actually pull out so many top-grade spirit swords in one go. There were even legendary holy swords. A flash of greed quickly passed through his eyes. Xiao Zi'an suddenly spat out a huge mouthful of blood and cried out, Mother, sisters, every word I said is true. If I said even half a lie, let heaven strike me down with lightning. I know now. So many treasured swords, 7, the royal family of Great Chu couldn't possibly produce them. How could Big Brother have them? Kneeling on the ground, he looked at me. Tears fell non-stop, like broken pearls. Big Brother, I never thought that after leaving home for 3 years, you'd be doing things like murder and robbery outside, stealing other people's treasured swords. If you wanted my spirit sword, you could have just told me directly. Your younger brother, I definitely would have given it to you. But why did you attack me and destroy my immortal bone? My second sister, Xiao Luoyu, seemed to have realized something and stared at me. So, that's it. Xiao Che, you were actually doing this kind of thing outside and disgracing the family's reputation. Someone with such rotten character doesn't deserve to be my younger brother. My fiancé, Ye Lingshuang, cupped her hands toward Mother Xiao. Madam Xiao, what Zi'an said is right. More than 1,000 top-grade spirit swords and 2 peerless holy swords, the royal family would struggle to produce them. If Xiao Che has been committing evil outside these past few years, and we don't punish him, sooner or later, hell bring disaster upon the Xiao family. Mother Xiao came back to her senses from the shock. As if she had reached a decision, she looked at me with a dark expression. You unfilial son, just how much trouble have you caused outside these past few years? And now that you've returned home, you actually attacked your younger brother. A vicious person like you doesn't deserve to be one of my Xiao family. Today, I will uphold righteousness over kinship. People who are blind in the eyes and rotten in the heart really are like this. No matter how much I explain, it would be pointless. I gave your Xiao family a chance. Your Xiao family just didn't know how to cherish it. The Xiao family had been raised by me with my own hands from an obscure little family. If they're exterminated today, then they brought it on themselves. My wildly arrogant tone made Mother Xiao fly into a rage. Unfilial son, this is all your own doing. Hear my order. 9 great elders, seize this rebellious son of mine and dig out his immortal bone. The 9 great elders surrounded me immediately. These 9 nascent soul elders had all been raised using the massive amount of resources I provided, and now they were being used against me. I hadn't killed anyone in 3,000 years. At this moment, I was so excited that I couldn't stop my body from trembling slightly. A powerful pressure surged out from me like furious waves in a raging sea, sweeping across the hall with me at the center. My aura skyrocketed at this instant, like a giant overlooking heaven and earth. The 9 elders had barely made a move when my invisible force seized them by the throat. One by one, they froze in place, unable to breathe, their faces flushing bright red. Pop, pop, pop. The bodies of the 9 elders all exploded. Flesh and blood flew everywhere in the hall, like an asura hell. In just an instant, all of those elders died, miserable deaths, and blew into clouds of blood mist. The whole place fell into dead silence. Everyone's faces were full of disbelief. When the Xiao family looked at me again, their eyes were filled with terror, like they had seen a ghost. Xiao Zi'an's face was full of fear as he screamed madly. You're a deity, transformation expert. How is that possible? How did this happen? Sure enough, you really can't be too kind as a person. Otherwise, even ants will climb onto your head and bark at you. With an evil grin, I said, since you slandered me for seriously injuring you, then I'll fulfill it for you. No. I summoned another pitch-black demonic sword. It looked plain and unremarkable, but this soul-devouring demonic sword was my natal sword from my previous life. Back then, I broke into the forbidden zone of life, the Death Demon Cavern, killed 7 great demon kings, took their demon cores, and spent 100 years forging it. It was comparable to an immortal artifact. With a casual slash, I chopped off both of Xiao Zi'an's legs. Everything happened too fast. No one had time to react. My legs. Xiao Zi'an let out an ear-piercing scream. He collapsed into a pool of blood, with blood gushing non-stop from his severed legs. His face was deathly pale, and his eyes were filled with terror and despair. Mother Xiao was scared out of her mind and hurriedly pulled the screaming Xiao Zi'an into her arms. Streams of spiritual energy poured into him to stop the bleeding as quickly as possible. Her eyes were red as she glared at me. Xiao Che, how dare you commit violence right in front of me? You're out of control. I dug at my ear and couldn't help laughing. If I really wanted to steal his spirit sword, would I have let this foundation establishment trash stay alive? Since he dared to slander me, then he should have been prepared to be tortured to death by me. The moment those words came out, everyone fell silent. At this point, they had also started doubting whether Xiao Zi'an's words were true. But my second sister, Xiao Luoyu, looked at Zi'an's miserable state, and her face was still full of fury. Xiao Che, even if that's true, setting aside the truth of the matter, the moment you acted, you not only killed the Xiao family's 9 elders, you even crippled Zi'an's legs. You must give our Xiao family an explanation today. I looked at her like she was an idiot. Oh, and so, what? How exactly do you want me to explain? She pointed at me and said as if it were only natural, you must hand over your immortal bone and all your swords, then cripple your own legs to atone. A cold smile rose on my lips. With another casual swing, I chopped off Xiao Zi'an's arms as well. Xiao Zi'an let out an even more miserable scream than before. Both his arms were severed at the shoulders. Blood sprayed everywhere. Dying mother, Xiao's clothes, red. All 4 of his limbs were crippled. His face twisted horribly from the intense pain. The despair in his eyes gradually turned into numb hopelessness. I raised a brow and looked at Xiao Luoyu. And now, how do you want me to explain myself this time? My second sister, Xiao Luoyu, was stunned by the bloody scene. The anger on her face gradually turned into fear. Damn it! How did I give birth to a beast like you? Mother Xiao held Xiao Zi'an and looked at his tragic state, her eyes nearly splitting from rage. My fiancé, Yi Lingshuang, hurriedly stood in front of Xiao Zi'an and shouted anxiously, "Xiao Che has gone mad." Even if we join forces, it'll be hard to deal with him. Has always treated me so well. He wouldn't dare do anything to me. You all protect Zi'an and quickly go invite the Xiao family head out of seclusion. Hurry! Holding the demonic sword, I looked like a god or devil descending into the world and let out a laugh. You think you can leave. I swung my sword and slashed. A nearly 30-foot-long black sword light tore through space and chopped down like divine punishment. Boom! A gigantic turtle shell blocked it head-on. A terrifying shockwave swept through the hall. The Xiao family hall collapsed with a thunderous crash. A holy artifact, the black tortoise shield. I had given this shield to Yi Lingshuang as a gift back then. I knew the original host had deeply loved Yi Lingshuang since childhood. I had taken over his body, and for once, I actually felt guilty. So I gave the black tortoise shield to Yi Lingshuang for self-defense. 5 years ago, the Yi family was wiped out. Only Yi Lingshuang survived because of the black tortoise shield. Who would have thought that in order to protect Xiao Zi'an, she would actually bring out the black tortoise shield to block my path? Although the hall had collapsed, under the protection of the black tortoise shield, none of them suffered any impact. My eldest sister, Xiao Luoxue, looked at me coldly. Xiao Che, that's enough. If you kneel now, admit your wrongs, and willingly accept punishment, I can still have father leave your corpse intact. Zi'an was the one father brought home, and the one he dotes on the most. You also know father has already broken through to the tribulation crossing realm. Hes stabilizing his cultivation right now. The moment he comes out of seclusion, he'll definitely tear you into pieces. I smiled calmly. Is that so? You think this black tortoise shield can stop me? Yi Lingshuang had already noticed the cracks on the black tortoise shield and shouted anxiously, "Go, all of you!" The black tortoise shield won't hold much longer. Only then did the members of the Xiao family hurry away while protecting Xiao Zi'an. I wasn't in a hurry to chase them. In this world, no one I want to kill can escape. Before Yi Lingshuang could even sigh in relief, I swung my sword again. It was another slash that shattered space. Thunder exploded as violent power rippled between heaven and earth. Boom! The black tortoise shield immediately shattered into pieces. Heaven and earth shook violently as huge cracks spread in all directions. PFFT. The massive backlash sent Yi Lingshuang flying, and with a bang, she smashed into the ground. I held my sword to her throat. She showed no fear at all and glared at me. Xiao Che, that's enough. Zi'an is so kind and obedient, even if he accidentally made a small mistake. Did you really have to treat him like this? Xiao Che, you've changed. You've disappointed me too much. I gave an evil smile and cut off both her legs with one sword. A miserable scream burst from Yi Lingshuang's mouth. She lowered her head and looked at her severed legs. Blood sprayed out and dyed the ruins beneath her red. Yi Lingshuang's pretty face twisted from the agonizing pain. Her eyes were full of terror and disbelief. Xiao Che, you actually dared to really attack me. Her voice trembled nonstop, and cold sweat poured down. She thought I would remember old feelings and wouldn't do anything to her, but Yi Lingshuang was wrong. Very, very wrong. Why wouldn't I dare? I let out a light laugh, my tone dripping with mockery. Yi Lingshuang, 5 years ago, when the Wang family of the southern region attacked your Yi family and wiped them out. Later, the entire Wang family had their cultivation crippled, and only then were you able to personally take your revenge. Do you know who crippled all of their cultivation? Yi Lingshuang's whole body shook and her eyes widened instantly. It was you. My eyes were cold. without a trace of emotion. That's right. It was me. I gave you the Black Tortoise Shield and protected you from a deadly disaster. I crippled the Wang family so you could avenge yourself. Yi Lingshuang. But how did you repay me? My words were like knives, digging viciously into Yi Lingshuang's heart. Yeah, for someone she had known for less than 3 years, she had tried to force me to kneel and dig out my immortal bone. And now she had ended up like this. Boundless regret and guilt swallowed her whole in an instant. Say Pei. Her body trembled and tears kept pouring out. This time, not because of despair or fear, but because of regret and shame. Ache, I was wrong. I was really wrong. I failed you. I really didn't know it was you who crippled the Wang family and helped me get revenge. If I had known, I beg you, let me go. I really know I was wrong. Oh, is that so? You're apologizing now. Too late. I chopped off her head with one sword. Her soul was devoured by the Soul-Devouring Demonic Sword. Sword energy shredded her soul into fragments. But the next moment, a strange power forcibly pieced it back together, over and over again. Endlessly, Yi Lingshuang's soul twisted in agony as she wailed nonstop. Her eyes were full of pain and pleading. It hurts so much. Ache, please, spare me. After Yi Lingshuang died, my figure flashed and I was already at the back mountain. My second sister, Xiao Luoyu, blocked my way. I looked at her, my eyes cold. Xiao Luoyu, do you still remember who saved you 18 years ago? She froze for a moment, then clenched her teeth. Yeah, you. What do you mean? I let out a cold laugh. 18 years ago, demonic energy invaded your body. All your meridians were damaged, and you were on the verge of death. The Xiao family searched all over the southern region for famous doctors. None of them could cure you. In the end, who saved you? I still remembered the scene after I possessed Xiao Che and returned to the Xiao family. At that time, the second young lady of the Xiao family, Xiao Luoyu, had been invaded by demonic energy and was barely hanging on. The Xiao family had searched all across the southern region for famous doctors, but none of them could cure her. And since I myself was a demonic cultivator, demonic energy naturally couldn't harm me at all. I was the one who absorbed all the demonic energy from her body. Only then did I drag Xiao Luoyu back from death's door. Xiao Luoyu's pupils contracted sharply, as if she had finally remembered something, but she quickly shouted angrily again. So, what if you did? You saved me. Wasn't that your own choice? What's the point of saying all this now? I'm telling you, Xiao Che, after what you did to Zi'an today, I will never forgive you. I laughed at myself. Sure enough, sometimes good people really don't get good endings. Haha, it means nothing. I just want to tell you, Xiao Luoyu, your life was saved by me. So now, I'm taking it back. The moment my words fell, the soul-devouring demonic sword instantly left its sheath. Xiao Luoyu's expression changed drastically, and she hurriedly raised her sword to block. Clang! Her sword instantly snapped, and I cut off her right arm at the shoulder. Her miserable scream echoed halfway up the mountain. Xiao Luoyu staggered backward, blood pouring wildly from her shoulder. She stared in disbelief at her now empty right shoulder. Waves of severe pain came crashing over her, gradually devouring her consciousness. How dare you! I'm your sister. She bit down hard on her teeth. Her little face twisted. Her left hand clutched the wound desperately. I held the soul-devouring demonic sword. The blade buzzed excitedly from bloodlust. Sister, scene after scene from 18 years ago flashed before my eyes. That girl, wrapped in demonic energy, lying on the bed and barely breathing. The entire Xiao family had been helpless. At that time, my strength had not yet recovered, and my cultivation realm was still low. I stayed awake for 7 days and 7 nights before I finally drew all the demonic energy out of her body. Back then, after she woke up, she tightly grabbed my hand. Her voice choked up. Ache, thank you. You saved your sister. Sister will treat you well for the rest of my life. Only treat you well, and never let you suffer even the slightest grievance. Back then, gratitude shone in her eyes like stars, but now, those eyes held only terror and resentment. I attacked again. PFFT. Xiao Loya's left arm was severed at the shoulder, too. Blood sprayed out, staining her white dress red, and staining the blue stone beneath her feet red as well. She let out another pig slaughter scream and rolled madly on the ground. Xiao Luoyu was finally afraid. She crawled to my feet, terror flooding over her like a tide. Why, ache? Your sister. You saved me. How can you treat me like this? Saved you. I looked down at her coldly from above. But you've also proven to me that some people are heartless beasts from birth. They never deserved to be saved, didn't they? For Xiao Zi'an's sake, you wanted me to kneel and apologize, and forced me to dig out my own immortal bone. Have you forgotten who dragged you back from the edge of death? I slowly raised the demonic sword, the tip pointing at her dantian. Xiao Luoyu, since you like digging out immortal bones so much, then experience it yourself. No. Don't. She shook her head violently, her eyes full of terror. Sister was wrong. Ache. Sister was really wrong. Sister failed you. I beg you, please spare me. The soul-devouring demonic sword stabbed down violently. I forcibly stripped out her immortal bone. The agony of forcibly extracting the bone was far worse than having both arms cut off. Her eyes bulged wide as if they were about to pop out of their sockets. There was now a huge hole in Xiao Luoya's dantian, with blood pouring out nonstop. She looked like a broken, tattered puppet. At some point, my eldest sister, Xiao Che, was already standing atop a sheer peak, dressed in white. She looked as if she might ascend into immortality at any moment. Only her eyes were indescribably cold. Xiao Che, how dare you torture and kill your second sister? You've already fallen into the demonic path. Today, I will act on heaven's behalf. I looked at her mockingly. Oh, really? The supreme forgetfulness you cultivate is a demonic art to begin with. I admit, I'm a demonic cultivator, but aren't you one too? Right in front of her, I chopped off Xiao Luoya's head with one sword. Her soul was likewise devoured by the soul-devouring demonic sword. Sword energy sliced her soul into countless fragments. Then, some mysterious power forcibly stitched it back together, again and again. Xiao Luoya's soul kept howling and wailing. It hurts so much. Ache. Sister regrets it. Sister was wrong. Please spare me. You're courting death. Two cold bolts shot from Xiao Luoxu's eyes. Her long sword left its sheath. And dazzling sword, she stabbed down fiercely from the peak. Boom, boom, boom. Wherever the sword chi passed, rocks exploded into the sky and the earth shook violently. My figure moved so fast, it became a series of afterimages. She couldn't even touch the corner of my clothes. I let out a sneer. Xiao Che, you and I are the same kind of person. Why put on this righteous front? I taught you the supreme forgetfulness. What makes you think you're my match? Xiao Che, do you know why your cultivation hasn't improved in the slightest for a full 3 years? Because you've developed feelings. Hehehe. How laughable. You actually fell for your foster brother. Xiao Luoxu's expression changed sharply. That cold disguise was torn open by me, and her eyes were full of fury. Shut up! I want you dead! A nearly 15-foot sword light, brilliant as a rainbow, pierced through space and reached me in the blink of an eye. With a casual wave, I dispersed her full force, strike into nothingness. Xiao Luoxi's pupils shrank sharply. Her face was full of terror. How is that possible? You're not in the deity transformation realm. What realm are you in exactly? My figure vanished instantly from where I stood. When I reappeared, my hand was already clamped tightly around her throat. Xiao Che, you can't even uphold your own emotionless Dao, yet you still dare prattle about acting on heaven's behalf for his sake. You wanted to take my heavenly Dao Immortal Bone to help his cultivation. What deep love that is. I tightened my grip on her throat, watching the light in her eyes dim little by little. Her struggling gradually weakened. A thread of blood spilled from the corner of her mouth. Xiao Che, her eyes were filled with venomous hatred. You harmed your own flesh and blood. You won't die a good death. If I'd known, I never would have had someone throw you into Mount Wanmo. I should have strangled you back then. I never thought your life would be this tough, that you'd actually come back alive. Why were you born with a heavenly Dao Immortal Bone? while I only have an ordinary immortal bone. I begged Mother to swap your heavenly Dao Immortal Bone to me. Not only did she refuse, she even beat me half to death. I thought she loved you so much. But after I joined hands with Zi'an and framed you a little, she actually agreed to swap your immortal bone to Zi'an. Haha. After I took over the original host's body, I learned from his memories that he really had been kidnapped and thrown into Mount Wanmo. But after I tracked those people down using his memories, I found they were all dead. Who would have thought this Xiao Che was actually the mastermind behind it? Originally, I had wanted to give her a quick death. After hearing her vicious words, I fell silent. I carved 108 sword cuts across her body and watched helplessly as her life slowly drained away. Blood snaked down from the sword wounds. Her limbs were nailed to the mountaintop by Sword Chi, unable to move. At first, she could keep cursing me non-stop, but later, only hurried gasps remained. Her whole body convulsed from the pain. In the end, under extreme agony, she bled to death with her eyes still open. Inside the soul-devouring demonic sword, her soul suffered torment 100 times, 1,000 times worse than the flesh. Xiao, you won't die. Well, it hurts so much. Ache, sister was wrong. Stop, now. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, the sound of a formation being bombarded came from the main peak of the back mountain. I knew Mother Xiao was forcibly waking the family head out of seclusion. Every time the Xiao family head went into seclusion, he would set up formations outside to prevent disturbance. My figure disappeared in an instant. When I reappeared, I was already in front of the seclusion cave. The moment Xiao Zi'an saw me, he looked like he'd seen a ghost and started screaming. Don't come over. Mother Xiao also became agitated. Xiao Che, we're already at your father's seclusion cave. If you still dare hurt Zi'an, your father will never spare you. As she spoke, she kept backing away, as if I were some monstrous beast. The corners of my lips curled up into mockery. Oh, really? Then, good. Before he comes out, guess whether I'll spare you. I struck from afar and forcibly dug out her immortal bone. You unfilial son. You've gone mad. The pain of the immortal bone leaving her body made Mother Xiao curl up on the ground. Both hands desperately covered the bloody hole at her dantian, but blood still kept pouring out through the gaps between her fingers. She lifted her head, her bloodshot eyes staring at me. You beast! Your mother. You unfilial son. When I gave birth to you, I should have strangled you to death. Looking at the ferocious expression on Mother Xiao's face, I suddenly felt sorry for the original host. Good thing I had taken over his body. Otherwise, he would have been eaten alive by the Xiao family without even scraps left. Mother, I tossed that blood-stained immortal bone at my feet like trash. When you agreed to dig out my immortal bone for a foster son, why didn't you think about being my mother then? I stepped toward her, one step at a time. Mother Xiao, you can't act this double standard. You want to talk to me about mother-son affection now. Don't you think that's laughable? Xiao Zi'an hid behind Mother Xiao, trembling non-stop. His fear made him scream shrilly. You're a devil. Don't come over. Get away from me. Father is about to come out of seclusion. Hez, a tribulation crossing expert. Hell, definitely tear you into pieces. Oh, is that so? I was just about to make a move and drag him out from behind Mother Xiao when suddenly a change occurred. The sky suddenly filled with dark clouds, thunder rolled, and countless bolts of lightning danced like silver snakes. A violent aura echoed throughout heaven and earth. Every cultivator in the entire southern region looked up at the sky in shock. My God, could it be that a tribulation crossing expert has appeared in the southern region? Judging by the direction, it's the Xiao family. Rumor says the Xiao family head, Xiao Z'an, broke through to the tribulation crossing realm and is in seclusion stabilizing his realm. Could all of that actually be true? Originally, the entire southern region had only 2 tribulation crossing experts. One came from the Yi family, and one from the Wang family. Unfortunately, these 2 great families of the southern region were exterminated one after another 5 years ago, and Xiao Zi'an of the Xiao family relied on the strength of a half-step tribulation crossing expert to leap into the position of the strongest in the southern region. The Xiao family thus became the #1 family in the southern region. It's really the Xiao family. The Xiao family had finally crossed that threshold and became a true supreme tribulation crossing expert. We should hurry over and take a look. We ought to pay our respects. At this moment, countless experts sped toward the Xiao family. The southern region was vast, but for cultivators who could fly through the air, it didn't take long to get there. When the Xiao family hall had collapsed earlier, it had already attracted many cultivators to come investigate. After hearing the conversation between me and the Xiao family, they could already guess most of what had happened. Xiao Zi'an wore a black robe. He glared at me with eyes like torches, his pupils filled with undisguised, killing intent. Zi'an's limbs were cut off by you. Yes. And your mother's immortal bone was dug out by you too. Yes. The darkness in his eyes deepened, his killing intent almost becoming tangible. You, rebellious son, what a vicious heart you have. Even if Zi'an wanted your immortal bone, giving it to him wouldn't have killed you. Why are you still so stubborn? Haha. So, Xiao Zi'an really did know. The moment he said that, not only was I stunned, even the cultivators watching from the outside were all dumbstruck in shock. Everyone knew the Xiao family had taken in a foster son 3 years ago. Who would have thought the Xiao family would actually try to dig out their biological son's immortal bone and give it to a foster son? I stared at him coldly. Why? I asked that for the original host. Even just a demonic cultivator. But I still couldn't do something this absurd. The cultivators on the outside erupted into an uproar. They all whispered to each other. And when they looked at Xiao Zi'an, there was now more than a little contempt in their eyes. Who would have thought the Xiao family head would do something like this? Digging out his biological son's immortal bone to give to a foster son. What kind of soul drug did that foster son feed the Xiao family? Insolence! He flew into a furious rage and roared. The pressure of the tribulation crossing realm swept out like raging tidal waves. The heavenly thunder became even more violent, and rumbling thunder filled the air without end. The cultivators on the outside were all shaken until their blood and chi churned, forcing them back dozens of yards. The power of the tribulation crossing realm was truly terrifying. Why? Because, your father, your life was given to you by me. If I tell you to give it to Zi'an, then you have to give it to him. Instead of getting angry, I laughed. Xiao Zi'an, the reason the Xiao family became the overlord of the southern region, and the reason you could break through to the tribulation crossing realm, is all because of the countless spirit stones and pills I brought back over these years. And yet you repay kindness with ingratitude, and still want my immortal bone. Xiao Zi'an stared at me. Xiao Che, I gave birth to you and raised you. Isn't it only right for you to repay the Xiao family? You should be glad you didn't kill Zi'an. His broken arms can still be restored with top-grade pills. Otherwise, digging out your immortal bone wouldn't be the only thing I do. Are you going to do it yourself? Or should I do it personally? I looked at him like he was an idiot. Xiao Zi'an, with that little bit of cultivation, you still dare act wildly in front of me. You overestimate yourself. In these 3 years of traveling the world, I found that all those old monsters I knew 3,000 years ago were already dead. What a joke. Every generation really is worse than the last. Who would have thought that 3,000 years later, even someone at the early tribulation crossing realm could become a supreme expert in one region? Xiao Zi'an was enraged when he saw my contemptuous attitude. Holding his mad dragon blade, he slashed down at me with all his strength. A 300-foot blade aura, like a dragon, split space apart and crashed toward me like 100,000 great mountains. I casually swung my sword, easy and effortless, yet it shredded that dragon-like blade aura into dust, scattering it into the world like points of starlight. That's all you've got. I couldn't help sneering. The entire crowd was stunned. Everyone could feel how terrifying the power contained within that 300-foot blade aura was. They believed it could easily split even a mountain, no matter what. They couldn't believe it had been erased with my effortless single slash. Xiao Jian's hand holding the mad dragon blade trembled violently. He stared at me in disbelief, as if he were meeting me for the first time. How is this possible? He let out a low, stunned roar, completely unable to accept the result. How could your cultivation possibly be this strong? I don't believe it. Heavenly thunder descends. His eyes turned incomparably frenzied as he raised his blade to the sky. Although Xiao Zi'an was only at the early tribulation crossing realm, he had already begun to grasp the ability to draw down the heavenly lightning tribulation. Rumble. The dark clouds in the sky grew denser and denser as 100,000 lightning tribulations took shape. Bolt after bolt of lightning rolled through the sea of clouds like furious dragons. Xiao, aren't you very strong? Then let me see whether you can withstand this heavenly lightning tribulation or not. Xiao Zhan's face twisted viciously, and the madness in his eyes deepened. deepened. The cultivators on the outskirts retreated again and again when they saw this. Their faces were full of terror. The power of a heavenly lightning tribulation was no joke. Even the slightest contact could make someone lose both body and soul. I laughed, lightly, not taking these 100,000 lightning tribulations seriously at all. Back when I was at the critical moment of ascension, I was besieged by hundreds of experts. The lightning tribulation that descended then was 100 times, 1,000 times stronger than this fall. Xiao Zi'an roared violently and brought his raised mad dragon blade crashing down. In an instant, 100,000 lightning tribulations, carrying a force that could destroy heaven and earth, crashed down at me madly. What made everyone feel utterly unbelievable was, not only did I not dodge, I instead rose into the air and flew straight toward the lightning tribulation. All 100,000 lightning tribulations struck my body, yet I was completely unharmed. Everyone looked at me like they had seen a ghost. At this moment, I seemed to sense the aura of the great Dao. The rhythm of heaven and earth fused with me into one. That feeling of ascension from 3,000 years ago had returned. I threw my head back and laughed. Xiao Zhao. Today, I'll let you see what true strength really is. The moment my words fell, I slashed with one sword. Sword chi stretched across 90,000 miles. The sky that had just been full of dark clouds and rolling seas of thunder scattered into nothing in an instant. Golden light blazed. 10,000 rays of rosy light spilled out, and the heavenly gate opened wide. Everyone was dumbstruck. Then they all knelt down involuntarily. My God, this is actually the legendary single sword opening the heavenly gate. And immortal. The young master of the Xiao family actually reached the immortal realm. How is that possible? For 5,000 years in the mortal world, no one has ascended. According to historical records, 3,000 years ago, there was once a demonic cultivator who almost ascended, but at the critical moment, he was jointly attacked by righteous experts and finally sealed beneath Mount Wanmo. Who would have thought that 3,000 years later, I would personally witness the birth of an immortal? To witness the birth of an immortal Tadathis, life is worth it. Today is destined to be recorded in history. I'll pass this story down. Their ancestors once personally witnessed an immortal ascend. These cultivators were also excited that tears streamed down their faces as they danced and gestured wildly. They kept kneeling toward me without stop. Father Xiao and Mother Xiao were dumbfounded. Xiao Zi'an's mind had gone completely blank. Even the souls inside the Soul-Devouring Demonic Sword stopped wailing. They simply couldn't accept what was in front of them. Xiao Che is actually in the immortal realm. Impossible. That's absolutely impossible. Xiao Zi'an muttered like a man who had lost his soul. With a clang, the mad dragon blade in his hand fell to the ground. I looked at his dazed appearance, and a cold gleam flashed through my eyes. Xiao Zi'an, the game's over. I vanished from midair and appeared in front of him with a sweep of my hand. I forcibly extracted his memories and projected them. When Mother Xiao saw the images in the projection, she vomited blood mouthful after mouthful. So, Xiao Zi'an wasn't a foster son at all. He was the illegitimate son of Xiao Zhan and his childhood sweetheart. The memories showed that Xiao Zhan and Mother Xiao had an arranged marriage between families, but he had never loved Mother Xiao. The one he had always loved was his childhood sweetheart. It wasn't until his childhood sweetheart died 3 years ago that he brought his illegitimate son, Xiao Zi'an, back home, and he lied to Mother Xiao, telling her Xiao Zi'an was the child of fortune who could one day lead the entire Xiao family to ascend to the immortal world. On top of that, Xiao Zi'an was smooth-tongued and very good at pleasing people. Just like that, Xiao Zi'an won the love of the entire Xiao family. So even though they knew Xiao Zi'an had framed me, the whole Xiao family still stood on his side and demanded that I dig out my heavenly Dao Immortal Bone for him. Also that Xiao Zi'an could become immortal as quickly as possible and elevate the entire Xiao family. Inside the Soul-Devouring Demonic Sword. After the two sisters learned the truth, their soul forms screamed madly at Xiao Zhan and Xiao Zhan, cursing them furiously. After Mother Xiao learned that everything had been a lie, her regret was so deep, her guts turned green. Crying, she crawled toward me. Ache, my ache. She crawled all the way to my feet and clutched tightly at the hem of my robe. Her knuckles turned pale from how hard she gripped. Mom was blind. My heart was covered in lard. I actually helped that bitch child harm my own biological son. Ah, what sin did I commit? Not human. I was wrong. I was really wrong. At that moment, the memory projection happened to show the scene where Mother Xiao nodded and agreed to dig out my immortal bone. She looked at the cold and heartless expression on her own face in the image. And that sentence. If I'd known this when I gave birth to you, I should have strangled you to death. She suddenly let out an incomparably shrill scream. With tear-blurred eyes, she looked at me. There was regret, pain, and one final trace of hope inside them. Ache. Mom really knows she was wrong now. Sorry. Sorry. Haha. If I really were the real Xiao Che, I would have died who knows how many times already. Since you want to repent, then repent inside my soul-devouring demonic sword for all eternity. I swung my sword 3 times in a row, and inside the soul-devouring demonic sword, 3 more souls were added. These souls were shredded into fragments by sword chi, then quickly pieced back together by force, then shredded again. The pain was 100 times, 1,000 times worse than the flesh. Again and again, with no end. Their wails constantly echoed inside the sword blade. The soul forms of Father Xiao and Mother Xiao crazily bit and tore at each other inside the sword. Xiao Zi'an, it's all your fault. You bastard! You won't die a good death. If it weren't for you and this bastard illegitimate son, how could our Xiao family have ended up like this? Right after that, the Xiao sisters and Yi Lingshuang joined the fight too. Together, they tore at the souls of Xiao Zhan and Xiao Zi'an. The Xiao family's end drew sighs from countless cultivators present. They didn't cherish a biological son in the immortal realm, yet doted on that illegitimate son instead. The Xiao family was blind in the eyes and rotten in the heart. They deserved what they got. In the end, I leaped into the heavenly gate amid 10,000 rays of rosy light. The heavenly gate slowly closed as if it had never appeared at all, and I welcomed a new beginning once more.